Simms looks at Connor like he's his son every time Rogers brings some high-level analysis nuggets. I appreciate that about you, Chris.
Well,
You're a good fatherly figure.
Look at that. I am a proud papa.
You are, yeah.
I'm a proud papa. Yo, what's up? It's Chris Simms. It's Chris Simms Unbuttoned, and I am here with Connor Rogers. Yep. I mean, sometimes you have your work wife, your work
That's
mate.
right.
I guess you're my work son. Is that what they're trying to say?
That's kind of where we're trending
That's
right
where
now.
we are.
Yes,
You're-
proud papa.
Your work son.
Yep.
Yeah. I am a proud papa.
Yeah.
Always good to have you. Connor
Great to be here,
Rogers in
man.
the house, the host of pod. Looking good as always.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate you coming in and holding it down for me.
Dude, you know I love being here.
As I always tell people, and I always know we get excitement from our old Bleacher Report fans when I see social media and some of the comments when they know you're going to host. I always do like that, and I always think about that. Yeah, I am a proud papa when it comes to you, man. You've come a long way.
Thanks, man.
You really have. You got a nice little niche, new contract here at NBC.
That's the rumor.
Bam.
Yep.
Look, you got a new shirt on. You can't hide
Yep.
money.
Right.
It's
You
oozing
can't
out of
hide
him.
money.
Haircut looks a little better.
Yep.
Gosh, it's amazing
Slowly.
what some money will do to you.
Speaking of, I was laughing when I was watching the first intro that you and Ahmed ever did.
Right.
Just
Oh
how
my
just
I know.
different haircuts.
Oh, my gosh.
Ahmed is what you called him the
Yeah.
first time.
Oh my
It was a
gosh.
10 out of 10. It's
was-
amazing how quickly things change. It was
Yeah.
funny when I got here early today. Kim from Makeup, who does such a great job with us.
Jersey, that's what I call
Yeah,
it.
she
She's from
really
Jersey,
is. She
right.
absolutely is.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh, you're here early." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm doing the show with Chris," and she was like, "Oh, it's great." And I was like, actually, when I was 22, my first job out of college, I was Chris's research assistant. She's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, like literally, I've known Chris for 11 years.
11
now.
years.
Literally,
11
the person that
years.
answered the door for me at Bleacher Report, and here we are sitting together. You've been too good to me, so I'm pumped, man.
Yeah, you're the man. And we had a lot of good conversations back in the day. And back in just so the poll be like so everybody knows behind the curtains, back in the old day, the original Bleacher Report office, you'd kind of like walk through some glass doors. There was like, secretary,
A makeshift desk.
Somebody makeshift
Yes.
desk kind of there to greet you, and then you were right there to the left. And we had a lot of conversations about football and
was
talking
awesome.
there while you were typing all kinds of crap into the computer doing I
Always.
don't know what.
Spreadsheets.
Right,
That's how it
exactly.
goes. Literally spreadsheets. Man, it made me laugh too walking in here. The set looks amazing for this, by the way.
It is pretty. I am loving it. I think the homies are coming around to it.
Okay, good.
Okay. At first, we definitely had a lot. We're like, I miss Central Park.
Let's
I miss
change.
seeing
No
the
one likes
people.
change.
Right.
Yeah.
But I didn't love the way it looked always on screen. As I've told people, I always did feel a little self-conscious that we were bothering people that were trying to work. There are offices all there.
Yeah, we were
around it.
yelling and
right,
cursing.
Right.
Yeah.
I always had comments made to me like, "Oh, you guys are loud today." Like, as in,
Oh,
like
yeah.
you were disrupting me. So this, and I do think once we get started, especially in football, being able to turn around and show some things right here
Be
in the
so much
screens
better.
and break things down.
Yeah, some all
I think
22
it's going to be
screen
great for
grabs.
everybody. Right.
It makes me
exactly.
laugh, the transitions you've gone through, going back to those days. You and Lefko would do a podcast.
We were holding little mics
in an office.
In an office.
In an office.
Yes.
There was no studio. There was
Nothing.
you had these little mics,
Yes.
and you do it like after hours. People would be leaving.
And I would make fun of it. I go,
corner
"What
like
is this shit we're doing? Oh my gosh, a
podcast? What the hell is that?"
Here we go.
Yep.
Got to be cool in a podcast, and
Yeah,
now
well, look
my
at it
whole
now.
life's based around it.
Literally, the whole world is based around
Seriously,
podcasts. Ones you
seriously.
host and ones you do. Listen, we got a lot to do today over the next week, actually, because we are going to go through every single division and go team by team and go through the win totals. So I think no better place to start than the AFC East,
Yeah.
and we'll work our way to the NFC East as
Right.
well. So this, Chris, is kind of one of those divisions, and all of our odds are going to be courtesy from our friends at DraftKings as well. This is one of those divisions where there's a king at the top.
There is.
And then everybody else just trying to play catch up. right now.
Definitely. I think so. And it's an interesting division, right? Because, hey, the Miami still has a lot of players on that team that have been in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
They have pride. There's still some talent there that you look at and go, man, it is Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Tua and all that.
Built to win.
mean, they're
Yeah.
going to be able to move the football. And we know there's some studs on defense. The Jets, there's some studs on both sides of the ball. We got to question Justin Fields a little
Right.
bit in the passing game there. The Patriots, I think we're all expecting to be a different football team under
Yes.
Mike Vrabel and one of the teams that won the offseason. So, yeah, very interesting division, I think, and how it could play out. I think it could play out a whole lot of different ways here. I think we're going to have some good conversations about this. But, yeah, obviously the Bills are the king, right? And I don't know. And there's a part of me that Bills are king, right? And I've been one to maybe poo-poo the Bills a little bit in leading up to years before. And I'm probably going to be that guy again this year, where I think they're held in a little too high of a regard. There's still things I'd like to see about their team before I put them quite in the status of the top-tier teams in football. But, yeah, we'll hit on all that when we get into it here.
Well, I think that perfectly encapsulates it with the Bills. They don't get looked at anymore the way the Dolphins, Jets, and Patriots are in this division. Their expectations, and it's the fan base, to be fair, their expectations are we got to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yes, I know.
Like, we got to get over the hump in the AFC.
Right.
So while the Jets, Dolphins, and Patriots look at the Bills are looking, okay, how are we going to match up with the Ravens or the Chiefs or whoever it may be at the end of the year?
Right.
You know, expectations are a hell of a thing. It can really warp your view of a team, and you're judged on perfection rather than just kind of getting above average.
Exactly right. And, you know, I as you've heard me say, and I know the homies on here have heard me say, yeah, I got a few questions about the Bills and their football team and where it is, right? And so we'll see. Let's discuss that, and we'll hit some of these over-unders here.
Let's start with them right now. The Bills, their over-under is at 12.5 wins, by the way. So a pretty big number here. Now, to be fair, they won 13 last year. They were 13-4. The over is plus 125 here. So basically, the bettors are favoring the under, which is minus 150. So the public, Chris, is on the side of the Bills going under this 12.5 number. Are you aligned with that? Because this is still a great team. They get 6 games in a division that doesn't really scare you.
Right.
And you look at the schedule. This is one of the weird things. When you think of a first-place team, you worry about the schedule. The Bills don't have a hard schedule. They will play 6 playoff teams from last year.
Yep.
Their combined opponents' record is 135 and 154, which there's so much change in the NFL. That doesn't always matter. But they are playing a bottom third of the league in terms of strength and schedule.
Right. And, I always like all that context, right? But I think there's more to that context, too, in the fact of, we can't just be, beholden to those numbers because of what we're just talking about. There's too many changes.
Right.
The division, the New England Patriots, I don't think you can just chalk it up and go, oh, well, we're definitely going to win those 2.
Right.
That changes. I think the Jets are going to be more of a pain in the ass than they were the last few years, right? So I think all of that is what I look at. I tend to feel like I'm more on the public side on this one, okay? I understand the Bills are really good. I understand they're in the Super Bowl window. They have one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life. I understand that too. Now, I'm going to take the under, but I'm not saying by a lot.
Right.
12-5, 11-6. That's kind of where I see them this year. And we've had these discussions with them a lot. I don't have many questions about the offensive side of the ball. There's not a lot there to question. The only thing I think you question is, will Keon Coleman become more of a staple of the offense, and can he become a weapon? Because if that's the case, then they go, ooh, what is that? That could be a dangerous offense. We know. The line's damn good. The running back's good, right? I don't have a lot of questions about the offense. My question, and anybody that's been listening to the pod over the last few weeks, is about their defense. That's what it's about. I know that their Buffalo defense is really well coached, and they're going to be fine against the middle of the pack type of teams in the NFL, right? But now it's a big game. Oh, Kansas City just moves the ball up and down the field whenever it needs to. Oh, we don't ever stop the Ravens, really. They just stopped themselves a few times. So they just went up and down the field. My complaint about the Bills is been on the defensive side of the ball, and the fact that, can somebody on that side of the ball make plays to get them to win a football game or in a big moment or be dominant like that? Last year, they were the 17th ranked defense in football. I don't know if I sit here necessarily and go, oh, well, I'm expecting them to be, top 7 or 8 this year because of what they did in the offseason. I don't know if there's any dramatic change there to make me feel different. So I'm going to go with the under there, Connor. But what do you think there, man?
They're an interesting one because you look at this, it is really, really close. I actually think they win 13 games again. I will go with the over, but that's away from the conversation that you pointed out, Chris. I still have questions about this team because I say, hey, are you good enough to go to the Super Bowl? The back end of this defense has significant question marks right now, and you haven't really had much of a summer from their first-round pick and Maxwell Harrison, who that's a key ingredient if you want to take a jump right now. So the safety play has to be better. They obviously need stability at corner, which they were hoping to get with their first-round pick. So I definitely have some questions as well with the defense. I love the offense. They have continuity on the offensive line. You mentioned the backfield being sorted out. I think Josh Palmer is actually somebody that is like a sneaky one where it's like, even if Keon Coleman doesn't become what he needs to be, it's, Josh Palmer's our vertical guy now. So I land right at 13 for the Bills, but also the schedule just doesn't scare me.
Hey, and one more thing about the schedule, because the schedule, I hear you, and I'm always a big proponent of early season schedule, right? And I think I know I'm picking the under, you're picking the over, and I think a lot is going to be dictated about a little bit of, hey, the Patriots, the Jets in your own division. teams like the Falcons and the Panthers, how much better are they in the
Right.
NFC South, right? Are they going to be able to compete with them? But as you look at it, Baltimore, Jets, Dolphins, Saints, Patriots, Falcons in the first 6 weeks before they hit a bye week, they certainly have a chance there to get some momentum and get going and maybe catch a Jets and a Patriots and a Dolphins team kind of figuring out how they want to play with a bunch of new cast of characters or whatever else. So that's where I feel like if I'm going to be wrong and you're going to be right, it's like they get to that bye week 5-1, and then I'm like, oh shit, Connor's right. They're going to hit the over. I'm in trouble there.
And they have a Superman at quarterback, obviously.
Right. Exactly.
But you make a good point, I think, at large, that the division doesn't have to have a true challenger for them, and there still could be a little bit more worn out, right? And you know this. You played in the league. You finish a game against the Jets this year, and you're like, damn, we won by 10 or 13 points, but we're a little more sore.
But it was physical.
Yeah, we had to defend the run 30 times, and we kind of had to grind out a couple drives, and that kind of brings me to New England here, who are definitely a hot pick in the league for biggest jump from being bad last year, picking as early as they did in the top 5, a 4-13 season. How many times, Chris, do you see a team, and yes, the over-under is only 8.5, but they are favored in 11 of their games after picking 4th in the draft last year. That is not common.
Pretty crazy.
When you don't have it's not like Tom Brady was out for the year. Okay, that's why. You know what I mean?
It's very.
It's like, no, we believe in a new coach, a year 2 quarterback, and the change of this roster.
I feel like I don't know if I've ever seen quite that jump or a perception change about a football team in such a short period of time. Yeah, everybody's expecting the quarterback to make the next jump, right? And then when you couple that, I think, with, Josh McDaniels is coaching them, and Mike Vrabel, of course, above that, seeing over everything there. Then you jump on with, they were one of the best teams in the draft and one of the best teams in free agency. I think that's why we're all there. I mean, 8.5 wins, I look at that and just go, yeah, no doubt, I'm picking the over, 100%. I'm expecting the Patriots to be somewhat of a force in the NFL. I mean, you look at them and what they have here, we need to see Drake May take that next step or whatever you want to say there, right? There's some young receivers that I think are going to have a lot of say of how this offense is this year. How quickly do they jump on the scene with Booty, Douglas, right? That group there, Kyle Williams.
Yeah.
I know they're extremely excited about their football team. Young guys on the offensive line, right? So the potential on the offense is there, but it's a little bit like, I just would like to see it a little bit. The defense, I feel like I don't have a whole lot of questions about. The defense is like, for the most part, is veteran players that have been around the league, and I think between that and the way they're going to be coached and everything on there, I look at the defense and go, I'd be surprised if the Patriots defense isn't a top 10 defense in football.
It's mostly just health.
Right.
Like, you need Christian Gonzalez to be ready. You need Carlton Davis to stay healthy. Harold Landry to stay healthy. But, on paper, you look at it and go, this is a really good unit from front to back.
D-line, they got versatility, they got depth there. So, I'm expecting them to be a player. And, they're a team where I haven't picked my playoff predictions yet and all that, but they're certainly one of those teams where I go, wait, team that didn't make the playoffs that I certainly think can make it this year, they're in the running for that. I just got to figure out what I'm going to do there, as far as buckling down, and do I pick them for the playoffs? But definitely the over. I'm taking that.
This is a funny one to me because how many times do you say, I think a team doubles their wins from last year, and it's almost a disappointment? I think they're an 8-win team.
All right.
And that's right at the under, and that's not a bad thing. Right. That's a big jump for any coach to make with the roster. I just think, Chris, there's a lot of transition here where you can look really good after an 8-win season but I think the quarterback, who's going to be really good, I think he's going to have his fair share of turnovers that kind of are headaches at times. I think the offensive line needs a lot of time to grow. There's only so much that one Will Campbell can do. And I know they have a lot of new faces across that unit, but they need to gel together as well. And then these wide receivers got to get on the same page as Drake May. So if they can ride their defense to win after win after win and be a little conservative, which isn't really Drake May's game. He's a guy that likes to push the ball down the field and run. I think this is an 8-win team, so it's shocking for me to say the under for a team like New England where I see that much improvement with them. I just think that's a massive, massive jump. Maybe I'm wrong.
No.
Maybe they get that much of a bump from the coaching staff.
I hear you. I guess I'm that much of a believer in that coaching staff. That's what my biggest question really is a little bit what you said, and it is Drake May. Right? It is. I mean, Drake May got to play in the preseason. I can't say that I was sitting here going, oh, my gosh, he looked totally awesome.
Right.
And I was amazing. It was kind of a dumb turnover in game one, right? The game in Minnesota, The stats look a little better than I think the quality of the play was. There were some missed throws and missed targets and even a few catches or receptions where I go, oh, that wasn't the greatest throw. I didn't love the way that day looked. Had a ball that he should have thrown intercepted, right, that got dropped, that hit the Minnesota Viking player right in the chest. So there's definitely some, I'd like to see it a little first to believe it and all of that, but I think I'm just such a believer in Vrabel and Josh McDaniels that I believe they get it straight and they just get over that 8.5 wins there.
So the next team could kind of have a huge impact on if New England goes over or under that. Everything. Yeah. Miami Dolphins. Right. They are one of the most high variance teams in all of football.
Yep.
Now, Vegas is looking at this. DraftKings has them over under 7.5 wins. They were 8-9 last season. This is one, Chris, that this team, if everything's healthy and everything's rolling, they're that fringe playoff team.
Right.
The problem is we have a sample size now that tells us it feels really hard for them to always be healthy and always be rolling, and that's why they're projected just smack in the middle.
I mean, this is one of the tougher ones. It's right on. I go back and forth with Miami a little bit. All right, I do. One, their O-line and what they're doing there, right? There's some new parts there. I'm interested to see how that looks.
Like Patrick Paul at left tackle.
Exactly.
It's a
right.
big transition.
Definitely.
It's pretty good summer, but it's always interesting when the lights come on.
Yeah, just to see where it goes, right? The Savigny or Savigny, right? Big guy, going to play left guard. That's certainly something to watch there. Got James Daniel, right, and in free agency.
Right.
The offense I know has the ability to be explosive, right? But I will say, like, I wasn't exactly, took them 4 drives to move the ball against the second-team Jacksonville Jaguar defense the other night, right? I do think so many people have stolen ideas from Mike McDaniel and what he does that the league is a little more comfortable playing the Dolphins now because they're like, wait, we've seen this for a few years, and you're so good at it. Everybody has stolen your stuff to where we see elements of your offense every week now, right? I don't know if it's going to catch people by surprise there. And within that too, right, the thing that bothered me about them a little last year was, I feel like I've always been annoyed by how quickly and how short they throw the football. And I feel like they did it even more in case just to make Tua survive, which is annoying to me too, because you play to win the game. You don't play to just, let's just make sure the quarterback gets his paycheck and we can still justify why we took him in the top 10 and make sure that all looks good. It just feels like some of that goes on down there in Miami at times, right? But with all that, I still recognize their explosiveness. The defensive side of the ball, there's some questions there. I like the front seven.
Yeah,
right?
They're healthy.
When they're healthy, exactly right. I mean, when you put Chop Robinson, Jalen Phillips, and Bradley Chubb on the field, which I saw the other night against Jacksonville too, you go, holy shit, good luck trying to block this crew on a passing situation. There's some questions in the secondary. I think we definitely can talk about that, certainly, right? I think I'm going to go under here.
Okay.
All right, but just barely, right? They're right in that mix there. There's a part of me that, I almost wonder if they're going to be explosive. I almost wonder if they might play maybe a hair through their defense this year and almost play ball control, short passes. Let's play that and kind of wear teams out that way. Efficiency, ball control, passing offense instead of running offense. That's what I kind of wonder. We'll see how it goes.
I think we see this one eye to eye. I think they're more of a 7-win team.
Yeah.
And obviously they're one of the harder teams for anyone to project because of the health of the quarterback, which totally moves their market because then you're, one bad play from Zach Wilson or Quinn Ewers having to take on the load of this offense. And there's just a lot of transition there. I agree with you about the front seven. If they're going to be good this year, it's going to be on the heels of their front seven.
It feels like it's going to be a defensive way about them.
Right.
Does this O-line come together? Can they run the ball and be dangerous that way? I mean, they certainly can. The way McDaniels packages the offense together. And I think the one thing you notice, too, watching the game against the Jaguars the other night, is just that Tyreek Hill's worth really shows when he's not on the field. The field just is not as open. Right. Nobody is as good on that offense when he's not on there. He does so much for them as far as how defenses play them, how they have to back off, everything else. The attention to him that opens up the rest of the offense is so special. He shows his true value there. They're a dangerous football team. We always talk about the toughness and can they win big physical games when the game gets ugly and it's kind of a phone booth like 17-14 type of game. I think that's the thing I question about Miami, and I'm not sure they're exactly made for that. Yeah,
They haven't shown it yet.
They haven't shown it. I like the D coordinator, Anthony Weaver. We'll see where the rest of this goes. But, yeah, I'm going to take the under for right now.
I'm going with the under as well. The homies are chiming in. UT Madden, longtime listener since BR, still remember Simms standing on the hill for Lamar Jackson and Connor giving the L for Daniel Jones. Feel like this is the Bills' division to lose. Does Miami keep itself together to compete or fall flat while New England and the Jets fight for second? I think you can make an argument of the three teams after Buffalo are all going to be packed together.
It's going to be killing each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a rock fight.
I don't look at it and go, ooh, there's a huge difference between any three of those. Yeah, obviously, I think I'd probably put New England as far as the leader of those three.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, by so many games that they're just going to run away with things or run away with second place. I feel like one of my themes this year, and you might have saw this with some of the texts Pete passed along, I do feel like there's more teams this year than ever before where I look at it and go, I got to pick playoff predictions and do all that here. And there's more teams to me than years past where I go, man, there's a lot of playoff caliber type things I like with the rosters on these teams, right? Where I look at them and go, I don't know if I got the guts to pick them to go to the playoffs, right? But I'm not going to be shocked if they get in there. And I feel like there's more teams this year in that category than I can ever remember, right? And I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means, if it does play out that way, does that mean that nobody runs away with the league this year? Is it all a bunch of 11-6,
right,
12-5 type of football teams? Or maybe I'm just totally freaking wrong and my take's wrong altogether. But that's just at least the way I feel as I've been trying to think about what I'm going to do, who I'm going to pick the Super Bowl, who I'm going to pick the playoffs. I've been thinking about that for the last 5 weeks, and I got to do it here soon. So I just know that's one thing that's been at the top of my brain throughout this process.
I just think it speaks to the lack of total pushover teams in the league this year, right? Because you think of a bucket of teams that typically would be the Raiders, the Panthers, the Giants, and the Jets. All four of those teams just feel like they're tougher, better coached football teams right now.
Desperation years,
yes.
Right? Either the coach's ass is on the hot seat, or it's a first-year coach where you're like, hey, we got a new energy here. We're going to show you what we got, right? The Indianapolis Colts, they're another team I'd throw in that category, right? It's a big year for them, right? The Seattle Seahawks, year 2. Atlanta Falcons, Raheem Morris, year 2, right? There's just so many teams that I look at and go,
Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville's another one.
Like it's
exactly
invested a lot into this year.
They really have, and they are a team that I think is sneaky, right? So just something to watch out for, food for thought that just comes to my mind a lot right now.
All right, the last one here, the New York Jets, who have the lowest over-under in this division at 6.5.
Yeah.
So it's not some giant gap from Miami to the Jets here. The over is plus 120, so the bettors are favoring the under, which is minus 145. The Aaron Rodgers-led Jets last year were just 5-12. Clearly a chaotic season for them. Here's the thing with the Jets right now, Chris. They're only favored in 2 games going into this year. Week 7 at home against Carolina and Week 10 at home against the Browns. So if they're going to get over this, and I like the Jets to win 7 games this year. I think this is like they are scratching to go over here. They're going to have to surprise some people. This one.
I think so too. This is another one where listen, Vegas has got it. It's right here.
Right.
I feel like I'm leaning to go a hair under.
Yeah.
But
could be like a missed kick, which happened to them multiple times last year.
I like a lot of things about the Jets football team. I really do. I mean, you look at their roster and what they got. There's not a ton to complain about. If the O-line can stay healthy, the D-line, the defense itself should be one of the better ones in football. But my concerns are definitely on the offensive side of the ball.
Can you throw?
Can you throw?
Just a little.
At a consistent basis, just to keep everybody honest, right? I don't think they're so good enough up front to where they're just going to go, oh, we're going to be able to dominate and run the ball, at will, and then he only has to throw it, 15 to 20 times a game, and we'll be okay.
It's a hard way to live.
Right? It's a hard way to live. That's why I question. That's why I'm going to go with the under. But, scared to death of saying that because of the talent on the roster, and I like Aaron Glenn.
Right.
I think the thing that makes me just go the under more than anything is probably the start of the schedule.
Yes.
Okay? The fact that they're not going to be able to get any false, fake confidence or momentum or feel like, oh, hey, we got things going. The Steelers, we know that's going to be tough right off the bat. And I don't know what to expect there. I mean, you might steal a win there, Jets fan Connor Rodgers.
If they want to go over, they probably got to win this one.
Because Aaron Rodgers is not going to be at his best, I don't think. And I still think that's a bad decision of not playing him at all in the preseason. Oh, but then the Bills at home, at the Bucks, at the Dolphins, Cowboys, Broncos. I mean, that's not the easiest schedule. Certainly not. And like we talked about, teams like the Panthers in Week 7, I expect them to be better, right? So a lot is dependent on that. And, yeah, I just don't trust it with Justin Fields. I'm sorry. I don't. And I got to see the offense in totality altogether anyways. But he's one of the lesser throwers of the football in all of the NFL. I mean, that's plain and simple. I would say he has the ugliest throwing motion in all of the NFL. I mean, almost out of anybody. Definitely the starters, right? So it's hard for me to put any faith in him, and I'm going to go with the under there.
Let me ask you a crazy question before we take a break.
Yeah.
Would you get them to 7 wins if you were guaranteed Tyrod Taylor for every game?
Ooh.
It's hard, right?
It is.
Because it's a totally different offense. He's not bringing the rushing element that Fields does. But
right.
I was at practice this summer. And
he's sharper every day. Right?
I mean, it was.
I know
when he was throwing, it was like, oh,
yeah, that's
like
what
even at his age, Tyrod still got it.
Exactly.
It's just always the health with him.
Yeah.
And Fields is a totally different element as a runner. No one's denying that.
Yeah.
But it is. You can never guarantee a full season of Tyrod, and he's not the starter. But it is interesting when you look at the Jets with him under center.
There would be more available in the passing offense where they'd feel comfortable about calling certain plays. Right. Now, the thing I like about the Jets and where I look at it and go, where could I be wrong, is that maybe that run game works. Maybe they run him a little bit more than I think.
Yeah.
The thing I do like about this regime there is I don't think they're going to make it all about the quarterback, right? They're going to take the Detroit approach. We're the whole team here, right? And then hopefully the quarterback like Jared Goff comes along and then we go, whoa, we got one.
Yeah.
He's the franchise, right? And I think that's what they're hoping with Justin Fields. They're hoping they strike gold here to where they never have to draft or trade or do anything like that to get the quarterback, and they got the guy. We'll see where it goes. But, yeah, the passing is definitely the part that scares me. But maybe they can play tough Detroit football. We'll see, but I'm not betting on it.
We're going to take our first break. When we're back, of course, we got the NFC East over-unders after this. NBC Sports Now is our free 24/7 streaming channel. Starts at 7 a.m. with PFT Live, The Dan Patrick Show, The Dan Lebitard Show with Stu Gatz, Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry, Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Just go to NBCSports.com/now. See Fantasy Football Happy Hour just with Matthew Berry.
I see. Right.
Yeah.
You know,
it's tough out here.
And Connor Rogers.
And Jay Croucher.
Yeah,
the font just keeps getting smaller. And Lawrence Jackson.
Matthew Berry likes to be the big font. He wants
right.
He wants it all.
That's why I'm over here trying to get a little shine.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm on PFT Live too. They don't ever say anything about me on there, right? It's Mike Florio on PFT Live.
It's the humble duo.
Just chop liver over here.
All right, we got the NFC East win totals, and we have to start with the Super Bowl champs in the Eagles, who their over-unders only 11.5 wins, which I know it's funny to say 11.5, but for how good the Eagles are, the over's plus 110, the under's minus 130, so bettors slightly favoring the under here, Chris, after a 14-win season. And they're only underdogs in 2 games this year. Week 2 at the Chiefs, Week 17 at the Bills. I mean, so I don't know if this is a trap bet for me. I'm all over the over on this one.
To me, it seems like one of the easiest bets there is.
What am I missing?
Right? I mean, the schedule. That's what I think.
They play 11 playoff teams from last year, but they're better than mostly everybody in the playoffs.
That's what's hilarious, and that's what's hilarious is I'd go. The Eagles went 14-3 with playing like just B football on the offensive side of the ball the whole year.
Right.
I've said this, and I know people get on me and all the Jalen Hurts lovers, all that, and love it. They went through a period of time struggling with their passing offense. If Jalen Hurts plays anywhere near the way he did in the NFC Championship game of the Super Bowl, they're almost impossible to beat. They're going to be impossible to beat. I mean, they steamrolled the Chiefs, right? I mean, once Jaden Daniels in the offense ran out a little bit of magic early on that football game, they steamrolled them too. They're phenomenal. I'm definitely picking the over. I mean, 100%. I don't look at anybody on their schedule early on. I mean, I know the Chiefs in week 2 going there, and the Chiefs maybe having actually it won't be an advantage because they're playing Thursday night, so they're both going to have the long week. I was about to say they may be that, but no. Yeah, Denver Broncos week 5. Okay, that's going to be tough. I think Denver's real. But yeah, I just look at them and I think they're in such a class of their own. And the fact that they won the Super Bowl last year without the quarterback playing his best football, I just feel like it just sets up for, one, they know how special they are. They know the talent they have on their team. I think they know they have a chance to do something special here this year. And I think Jalen Hurts, which is the ultimate good thing, is going to be able to look at film last year and go, man, I didn't even play my best. I got to be better. And if I play better, holy crap. So, yeah, over all the way here.
And what's crazy about this is if Jalen Hurts even got banged up, they might have a top 3 backup when healthy in the NFL in Tanner McKee.
Right
now. I mean, maybe top 3 backup.
He
looks awesome
there.
every time he gets to play.
Awesome. I know on after preseason game 1, or it might have been 2, Pete could tell you, when I sent my whole just barrage of text of all the games, I had written like Tanner McKee is definitely one of the best backups in football.
Right.
I mean, perfect. Now he's dealing with a little finger injury right now. I don't think it's going to keep him out too long. They got Sam Howell, but like, is there a part of their team or their roster that you can look at anywhere and go, I have a question about this or that? I mean, really nothing.
No.
I mean, in my text from this weekend, one of the things I wrote to you guys is the Eagles' backups are so good. They're starters on other NFL teams. I mean, some of the low-level teams in the NFL would go, oh, we would love to have the Eagles backup D tackle or backup this guy or backup offensive lineman. I mean, that's how damn good they are.
That's how they draft. I mean, you got Ty Robinson as a day 3 pick on the backup defensive line. Andrew Makuba, the safety from Texas, who's made plays this summer.
Yeah.
Just what they needed is another guy that can take away the football.
Texas side.
Man.
I know. You look. I just go, okay, Jalen Carter is going to be better. Nolan Smith is going to be better. You got Jahad Campbell in the end of the first round, which is just a shamrock up your ass to get him there. Everybody thought he was one of the 15 best players in the draft. He had the shoulder concern that made him fall. Jalix Hunt, the guy that the reason they let rid of Josh Sweat and let him go in free agency was they were like, we have another freak coming. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Right. So they got him. The secondary, everybody's going to be better. Everybody. Oh, year 2 for Quinnen Mitchell? Yeah, better. Year 2 for Cooper DeJean? Better. Kaylee Ringo? What, year 3 for him? Right? It's just it's one guy after another that's either like awesome or still growing his potential as a player to where you go, damn, he's just going to get better as we sit here and watch. So, yeah, Eagles, one of the best teams in football. In a lot of ways, too, might be hard for me not to pick them to go back to the Super Bowl, honestly.
Yeah, smash over for me as well. I would probably still take this at 12.5. It's at 11.5 plus money. The Commanders, the other very, very, they're an up-and-comer in this division. The Eagles have been established. Down to 9.5 wins.
I know.
The over-under after a 12-win season. The Commanders, Chris, feel like a team to me that they can win less games than they did last year, and you feel almost even better about them. Because, I mean, listen, there's going to be – I don't know if there's going to be regression necessary. There's some questions with them.
Right.
Terry McLaurin, of course.
Sure.
How teams defend Jaden Daniels, which probably doesn't even matter at the end of the day. This roster is still really, really good, well-coached. This is a tricky one, though, at 9.5, because it feels like it's kind of it's betting on regression for the Commanders.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a part of me that thinks there could be some regression here. And I've kind of stated this a few times. Last year, I felt like everything fell right for them.
The Bears game?
The Bears game. We've kind of gone through it in a number of these. The Bears game, the Giants game with Malik Neighbors dropping the ball. Yeah. Man, they could have lost the second Giants game. They had that. There was a few other games, too, where you just felt like, Jalen Hurts getting hurt, right? Early second quarter, late first quarter there in a football game. So there's a part of me that, like, I like Washington, don't get me wrong. I don't know if I really thought they were a 12-5 football team last year. I still look at them with, like, the things you mentioned and all that. I know their defense is good. I guess a little bit to me, I'm just like, I don't know how good I really think they are.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Is their pass rush good enough to make up for the questions they have at corner?
That's what I'm not sure about. This is one of the things we've kind of talked about when they're dissecting them here over the last month or so is, like, we went through, like, what's your main problem with each team? And Washington, one of mine was the pass rush. Like I'm not sure that any of these guys can get after the quarterback without blitzing on a regular basis. I mean, yeah, Von Miller, if he's totally back to himself, okay, yeah, maybe. But I gotta see it's a big if. Yeah. Dorrance Armstrong's a real good player, but I'm not gonna be like, oh gosh, teams are going to really have to game plan for Dorrance Armstrong, right? So, no, I those are the things I do question 100%. I do think a little bit, hey, first-year energy, new coach, you catch people by surprise, how they're playing with Jaden Daniels, the formula in which they're using. They're not going to catch people by surprise to the same extent, I don't think, this year, right? So I'm right on this is another team where I was definitive with the Eagles and definitive with some other ones. Washington's one where I kind of, I go back and forth a little bit. All right, so we're at, what is it, 9.5?
It's 9.5, and they truly, I agree, it feels like a 9 or 10 win team.
I'm going to go the under.
Yeah,
that's what I feel.
Yeah.
That's what I feel. But, I mean, again, not by much. Yeah, I'm 9-8. 9-8, I'll say. That's what I'm expecting. But yeah, there's something about that. And then the Terry McLaurin aspect, of course, is a distraction, right? That, along with Terry McLaurin and his ability, like, I'm not impressed by their wide receiver group if he's not there.
No.
Right?
No.
I mean, I'm not. Deebo Samuel, he's a gadget guy. He's a weapon. He's not a guy that you're going to go, hey, it's 3rd and 8. Deebo's going to get open against the best DBs in football now. Watch out. So I guess there's a little bit of that. I guess there's a little bit of me just of that sophomore slump for everybody. The whole organization a little bit. Like I said, I just felt like the stars aligned, the new quarterback, the new coaches, all that caught people by surprise. I'm expecting them to take a little bit of a step back.
I'm with you all the way. And still a really, really good team, but just a little bit of regression that the market is predicting. I mean, they haven't met 9.5 wins after a 12-win season, and they're only supposed to be better this year. So, and the schedule, of course, will be a little tough.
Definitely.
Another team that they're all over the place is the Dallas Cowboys because of all the drama around them right now. Dallas over-under is at 8.5 wins. The over is plus 120, so bettors are on the under for Dallas. They were 7-10 last season. They're only favored in 6 games this year, Chris. I mean, how much does Micah Parsons being in uniform ready to roll move the needle on this team's over-under?
Yeah, well, a lot. I mean, they can say what they want, but it's a distraction.
Right.
It's an issue. He's the best player on their team, right? They've got some new parts on their defensive side of the ball. Trayvon Diggs is not 100% healthy, right? Deron Bland, I know he's really damn good. But one of the reasons those two have been really damn good on the outside is because they've had a pass rush that gets after the quarterback, and the quarterback can never hold the ball too long. So you can peek in the backfield and jump on routes and do stuff like that when you have that thing going, like that type of stuff going on. The Cowboys have just totally bungled this whole situation. I've been on with Florio every day. I talk about it a little bit. I don't understand it. Jerry Jones is messing up. He's been disrespectful. I don't know, again, what he was doing this past weekend with Michael Irvin, saying all this stuff again with Micah Parsons. You think that's making the situation better? No. And couple that, like, and I'll echo what I said today with Florio on PFT. I know, like, one, he's serious about leaving there. Most people in the league think it is a broken relationship, that it is over, that he does not want to be there. That is the prevailing thought. I could tell you from friends all over the league that they think, it might be broken beyond repair there in Dallas. That's kind of the word going on right now. Now, I don't know what that means, but yeah, with all that, I know they can be dangerous. The wide receivers, the offense has some potential. The one thing I'll say about Brian Schottenheimer is I think he's got some really good run game ideas and the way they do that. That's where I think we could sleep on them a little bit. But I'm going to take the under here too, but not by a lot.
Right.
I think Dallas is still a pain in the ass, even with the Micah distraction. Right? I think there's enough playmakers there. I think with the way Schottenheimer runs the ball, I think Dak, if there's one thing I do like about Dak, is he'll stand in the pocket and throw the ball down the field to Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. And I think they could be dangerous that way. I don't know if I'm going to pick them in the playoffs or anything like that. I'm not expecting that. But I'm going to say under, but just barely under.
Outside of not having a workhorse back or a clear-cut running back, this offense, I think, is really good.
Exactly right.
Really good. You got the star receiver. You got the number 2 in Pickens. I think the line has a lot of talent.
Exactly right.
I like Dak. I like Ferguson. They don't have the guy in the backfield, so they'll kind of piece that together.
Jaden Blue popped a little the other day.
He's got the speed
He does.
as a pass catcher, which is a big
right.
role in this offense. Chris, until you sign off for me that Micah Parsons is back ready to roll, I can't pick them 9+ wins right now. I think you said, he's the best player on their team. He's probably the best player in the division.
He's one of the best players in the league.
Jaden Daniels obviously is an elite quarterback, so that's different.
But he's in the conversation for best non-quarterback in the game.
Right.
He's there. I mean,
totally
Jamar
changes
Chase,
the game.
TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, whatever. Some tackles were probably missing on the offensive side of the ball. Jalen Carter on defense. I mean, Saquon Barkley.
Of course, Saquon.
Right?
Yeah.
It's that group, but he's in that group of guys there. And that's what I don't understand. We bent to Dak Prescott. We bent to CeeDee Lamb. We bent to Ezekiel Elliott. And I want to go, wait, the one guy that was like, it's unanimous, everybody thinks he's awesome. Like those guys I just mentioned, you could go around the league and people will feel different ways about them. Micah Parsons, again, I think him and Von Miller are the only two people I've heard in the last 30 years kind of mention the same breath as Lawrence Taylor. Okay, so this is a rare guy, and I don't get it, and I'm going to be very interested to see how this goes, because as I've said all along, Micah's not the kind of person that puts out those comments he did on X originally, unless he's already at a spot where he's like, I'm willing to make a change and leave here. I'm willing to do that. He's smart. He knows football. He knows business. He knows all of that. And, they're messing this up. And it bothers me. It bothers me with Jerry Jones not following the rules of the CBA. I don't like that. Owners seem to always tinker and not follow the rules of the CBA. The players got to follow it to a T. But the owners, we're supposed to have agents here. Well, I don't want to pay attention. I don't want to have an agent here. Well, no, that's the rule of the CBA, to have the agent there.
Or they pay them.
Right. That's why it's there. We've written that in. But you want to do that. Why? Because you want the advantage to yourself, as I've kind of gleefully said a few times. Of course you want to negotiate against Micah Parsons. And, of course, he'd like to tackle you in a tackling drill. That's about how uneven it is, right? Yeah, you're going to be better at negotiating. Now, will you put a helmet on so he can tackle you, and we'll see how that goes? I mean, because now if he's going to play on your field, you're going to play on his field. It's annoying to me. And, the Cowboys are a circus right now.
I think he is also bold enough to be one of the rare players in this CBA to not play.
I do too.
Because he'll make it all back.
Yeah.
He's Micah Parsons.
Right.
Like some guys, it's like you're running back, you're running out of time. This dude's not running out of time.
No, not right now. He's definitely not. He's in the prime of his physical peak here. If he did miss time this year or didn't play or whatever else, he's still going to be awesome the next year. I don't want to see that happen. But, yeah, they're testing him. That's for sure. Yeah, I'm going to go barely under there. The Commanders is, to me, the toughest one of our in this division, right? Because that's one where I'm like, 10, 9. It's somewhere in there. I went the under. But now we get to talk about the G-Men.
I think this might be just as hard as the Commanders. The Giants only set at 5.5 wins, one of the lowest totals in the league. The over is -130, so the bettors slightly like the over. They were 3-14 last season. They're only favored in one game going into this year. That's at the Saints in Week 5. Chris, what's so hard about the Giants is they feel so much better this year, and because of the schedule and what they're up against, there's still a world where they don't clear this number. But you finish the year and you go, man, I feel really good about the Giants.
I know. The schedule is incredible. I would argue it's maybe the toughest first 13 games in football. I mean, you got the Saints in Week 5. Other than that, everybody's freaking good. I'm not sure that not everybody in the first 13 weeks isn't better than them, other than the Saints, just on paper. You said it right. The Giants, to me, have been one of the more impressive teams in preseason, right? Attitude, physicality. You could tell there's an urgency in the organization, right?
Yeah.
There's a little excitement as far as the quarterback and everything there, okay? The defense should be a force, right? The defense, I think, has a chance to be a real force. It really does. I think it could be a top 10 defense in football with everything they got, especially if like a Paulson Adebo stays healthy on the back end. And, our guy from Miami at safety, who I'm blanking
on. Javon
Yeah,
Holland.
exactly. Javon Holland.
A couple turnovers.
He plays like the way he did 2 years ago and all that. I'd go, watch out. The Giants D is going to be like extremely difficult to deal with. I want to go over. I'm going to go over.
Yeah. I think
off
it's
of
6.
desperation, it's 6, right?
And you
like,
scratch and claw to 6.
Scratch and claw to 6. And I'm going to do it just because of, I think, the desperation and the hot poker that's under everybody's ass in the organization. GM, head coach, all of that, right? They've been pretty impressive in all 3 games. Yeah, the quarterback thing is a question. We'll see where that goes, right? I think Jameis Winston or Tommy DeVito are gone. We know Russell Wilson's a starter, but for how long, right? Even if they were like 2-2 and it was just bleh offense, like, oh, they're 2-2, but offense is they're winning through their defense. Do we see Jaxson Dart week 5? I would bet yes.
Wow.
I mean, he's done a really good job. But, yeah, I'm just going to take the desperation aspect of it here and that the Giants can grit out, 6, maybe 7 wins and have a respectable season and get things at least on the right track once again.
To do that, you probably have to split with the Commanders and Cowboys.
Yeah,
that
right.
gets you 2 wins.
Right. Can they steal the first game of the year against the Commanders?
And that probably sets the tone for
Yeah.
it because they're better than the Saints. You know, can you try to steal one against a New England or a Chicago kind of team?
Yep.
They play the Raiders at the end of the year. That should be a good
There's
game.
a possibility you can look at it in them and go, hey, they could start the season 3-2. I mean, it's not crazy to think they can beat Washington and Dallas and go 2-0 off the start of the year.
They should split with those teams.
So let's see if they can do that.
They got to do it. So
Yeah.
the Giants are a tough one. You said Jaxson Dart earlier than we expect. I think that would make Giants fans pretty happy after his summer.
He was phenomenal this summer.
What more could you ask from him?
I know I'm a guy that's like, I've said a bunch of times, like, I'm not wowed by him, right? And I don't mean that in the sense of, like, I've been really impressed with how he's played. I'm just saying, like, when the ball comes out of his hands, I'm not like, oh, my gosh.
No, I agree.
Look at that. Like, whoa, right? Like I do with other quarterbacks, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar, even Caleb Williams a little bit, right? The guys where I just go, oh, my gosh, like it looks different when I watch film or see it on TV. But there's no denying the kid's a baller and knows how to play, right? And you can be successful that way. You don't have to have all the top-notch elite skills to always be great at quarterback in football. We know that. He's got everything you need. He's got plenty of arm, that's for sure. I'm just saying it's not a laser rocket arm, right? He's a better athlete than I thought he was.
Good enough runner.
Right.
Yeah,
he's better than – he's got great feel in the pocket. He's very smart. He knows where to go with the ball. He's accurate. He's got a versatility of throws that he can dive into according to what the situation calls for. So I love all that. Yeah. Can he be and you saw my text, can he be – to me, he can be like a Drew Brees or a Bo Nix-ish type of guy. Right? It's not going to be like, oh my gosh, that's unbelievable right there. But it's just going to be like, ooh, good play. Wow, great read. Ooh, great feel in the pocket there. Oh, surgicality there, right? That's how I feel like he's going to be. Right, you like surgicality?
That's a good one, yeah.
That's to me what he can be. Maybe a Kirk Cousins type, right, of guy. A more athletic Kirk Cousins.
Sure.
But that's kind of how I see him. Phenomenal preseason. And, like, good enough to where you'd go, if they wanted to start him week 1, he could do it. I don't think he'd be like, oh, gosh, he's really shaking in his boots and he's a deer in the headlights here. I feel like he's ready. But, you know, they're going to take it slow here, and they're going to go with the guy that's in the trust tree here. It's a big year for Brian Daboll and company.
It's just easier to pull the plug on Russ than it is let Dart have a bumpy start and be like, oh, he needs to sit now, and we'll get him ready again later. It's always, you know, you played quarterback.
Well, I always say the other thing that goes into this, too, is you want to make sure the team is ready to make the quarterback look good, right? And sometimes I think that goes into these situations where they're like, hey, let's make sure we're running the ball well and we're pass protecting. And Malik Neighbors has gotten to play and practice at a level here to where we feel
out
good.
a lot this
I know,
summer.
right. So like, just to make sure everything else around him is where it should be. So then, therefore, he could put his best foot forward when that time comes. So you're going over here, too?
Yeah, I'm going to scratch and claw them to 6 wins.
Scratch and claw on 6.
The defense is too good.
Yeah.
It's too good. You look at the schedule and you go, how the hell does this team win 6 games? But you look at the roster and all the, you know, parity in the NFL, I think the Giants can get to 6
I think what we're getting to a little bit is like kind of some of the stuff we talked about here where
we don't have these bottom feeders.
No,
like, they're going to win 3 games. And
the only
we'll have one eventually.
Robust middle class. And we had the Eagles who were in the 0.0001%, right?
Yes,
that's Elon Musk and Jeffrey Bezos. They're billionaires.
That's
they're just
right.
doing it all.
They can do whatever they want.
Exactly right.
All right, we're going to take our last break. When we're back, we're going to talk who will lead the NFC East in receiving yards with all the talent at pass catcher right after this. Here's the odds board for most receiving yards in the NFC East. Not a surprise, the Kings at the top here. Chris, CeeDee Lamb, the favorite right now at plus 150. You have Malik Neighbors at plus 200, A.J. Brown at plus 320, and then the long shots. in George Pickens, Deebo Samuel, Devontae Smith. No Terry McLaurin because of the current hold-in, whatever we want to call it.
Yeah, whatever the hell we want to call it. We'll see. But there's obviously a discrepancy there in what he's asking for. I know we were just talking a little bit, during the commercial break. And, yeah, I know for a fact that Terry McLaurin is asking for a lot of money. Much more than I think they want to give him on an annual basis.
Top of market-ish.
Near top of market-ish, right? Which I had always said I had heard it was, at asking for the 34, somewhere in that range. I've been told it was past that. Now, I don't know if he's lowered here at any point, right? But, yeah, to be north or above a Justin Jefferson and all that, that's not going to happen, and nor should it, and I wouldn't do that if I was Washington. You look at that right there. It's hard not to pick the top two guys on the board,
I'm
right?
Malik Neighbors all day.
Well, yeah. One, you just go, wait, the Cowboys, I don't know if they're going to be that good. They might be behind in some games. They're going to throw the ball, and they always throw the ball to CeeDee Lamb anyways.
Right. They don't have to do that this year.
They might not. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be more Pickens. Right.
It's not just
maybe
him.
He eats away at CeeDee Lamb again to where that makes Malik Neighbors the guy that's in the leader house. He's certainly going to be the focal point. The Giants love Malik Neighbors. He's a superstar.
Right,
we know that.
Every bit of the way.
We know that. So, yeah, I think it's one of those two guys. And, actually sitting here talking about it more and more, I think I'm with you. I think I lean Malik Neighbors there.
I think the target share will be insane. There's not another other mouths in that offense to feed.
They got good, but nobody great that challenged it. I like Slayton and Wandale. Right.
They're not capable, but you're building the whole plane.
You're not doing the plan around them. Exactly right. That's right.
DraftKings is the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, and right now all Pick 6 customers can play free for a share of DraftKings' biggest bag ever. Hit all 6 picks for your cut of $1 million or more.
Damn. All right. Just download the Pick 6 app and use the promo code UNBUTTONED when you sign up. Ride the upside with Pick 6.
DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
Damn, that's a new one right there. Ride the upside with the Pick 6.
That's sweet promo code.
Hey, nobody could throw Pick 6s like me, man, so I know how to do it, all right? Seriously, there's not a worse feeling as a quarterback than throwing a Pick 6, right? And people sometimes hear, do things that are embarrassing to me, and they're like, are you embarrassed? And I'm like, no. When you throw an interception or a Pick 6 in front of 8,000, you're kind of numb to everything else, right?
That's good.
You might make me feel a little awkward for a second, but embarrassed, no. I've been way more embarrassed.
You're
right?
calloused for life.
I'm calloused for life for sure.
That's awesome.
Between watching my dad throw interceptions at Giant Stadium and feeling that, right, with fans knowing that I was his son, and then my own interceptions, yes, I'm pretty numb to all of that. But damn, AFC East, NFC East in the bag.
Yep.
I feel pretty good about all of them. I think the two, if I had to pick one from each division, the Dolphins one is where I'm a little scared, okay?
Yeah.
And I believe that was, 7.5? I took the under, right? Really thinking 7, though, not much worse than that.
Right.
And then Washington in the
That's
NFC.
by far.
They're the one, they're just not sure. And again, I think Washington will be good, but I'm just not sure it's going to line up quite the same way. But if I was to eat crow, it's going to be on those two right there.
I agree with you all the way. And also, me taking the Jets to win 7. If they can't throw the ball, they're not going to win 7 games.
Yeah, that's going to be a big thing.
But
here.
if they're a pain in the ass like Aaron Glenn wants them to be, they can, like the Giants, scratch and claw.
Right.
These are low numbers. 6 wins for the Giants, 7 wins for the Jets. Can you be a pain in the ass?
What do you think of, as we go out here, what do you think of Aaron Glenn kind of getting annoyed about the media asking about the Justin Fields issues last week?
He's a very defensive guy.
Definitely,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
He's going to stick up for his quarterback.
He does.
That's what I like. He's not going to make it about that. I think he's trying to squash it and trying to do that. But we do have eyes.
Right. Eventually,
and I do have ears.
Right. It's eventually
And
you got to, people are seeing the same tape.
You've
I
been
always
to
joke with
training
people.
camp?
Yeah.
Anybody I've been to training camp has said some of the same things you said. Everybody. Damn. I've never seen a starting offense or a starting quarterback where the ball hits the ground that much. Damn, there's a lot of unimpressive throws. Damn, Tyrod Taylor definitely throws the ball better than Justin Fields, right? So, yeah.
That run game needs to be electric. And I will say, with the contract he's on, they have zero fear of running him a million times.
That's right.
A million times.
Right.
That gives you a little bit more confidence where it's not like, like the Commanders will run Jane Daniels.
Yeah, but they're
this year.
protecting the
They
franchise.
won't have him get smashed at the goal line over and over
They'll
again.
be very picky.
The Jets, I call them the Service Academy Jets.
Yeah.
Like that's like you get ready for Army, Navy, football.
Like I hope they do that. That would be fun to watch.
Yes.
All right. Subscribe, rate, review. Thanks as always. You the man. AFC East, NFC East, over-unders in the can. We got that. We're going through all the divisions, so you're going to hear it all. Busy week. We got it all coming now. And the next, I think we got AFC North, NFC North. So, again, you know where to find us. Keep sending in the questions, right? Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm right. Tell me how Connor looks in his green shirt. Whatever you want to do, we're here. Peace out, homies. We'll talk to you next time. Clap it up. Yo, homies, what's up? Thanks for watching Chris Simms Unbuttoned. And just because the weather's warm doesn't mean football ain't still on our brains right here.
We are still working, so smash that subscribe button. We got all the training camp news, preseason news, everything up until kickoff night.
Thanks for watching. And again, remember to hit that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.